Our top focus story is the BJP manifesto. The delay was embarrassingly long, but is the final product worth the wait? The BJP's economic vision is now in public domain. Narendra Modi's vision promises to reboot India's stalled $1 trillion infrastructure development program. It promises economic revival and development for all. Now, India Inc. has welcomed this, but they've stressed on the point that implementation is the key.
At the BJP's manifesto party, the temple run was mentioned, but underplayed. And this is how it was done.
लास्ट पे तो सब कुछ है, देखो ना, घोषणा पत्र आपके पास है. अच्छा नहीं, देखिए मैं पढ़ के सुना देता हूँ, चिंता मत करिए. हाँ, तो आप देख लीजिएगा.
The catchphrases harped upon were jobs, reforms, economy and inclusive growth.
हमारा लक्ष्य है एक भारत श्रेष्ठ भारत. हमारा रास्ता है सबका साथ सबका विकास.
The BJP has unveiled its economic agenda. We bring you now the 10 key points of Modi's plan to put the economy back on track. The BJP manifesto claims that it will accord highest priority to agricultural growth. It vows rationalization and simplification of the tax regime. Moreover, job creation in both rural and urban areas is also a top priority. The BJP claims it will give high priority to growth of manufacturing. It has said a complete no to FDI in retail, but FDI in other sectors to create jobs is open. It wants to bring model of national development driven by states. E-governance will be another priority area of the BJP. On ending policy paralysis, it says that it will encourage bureaucracy to take the right decisions. To infra push will include a diamond quadrilateral project of high-speed train network and the launch of an integrated public transport project.
The manifesto created no buzz but ripples in the markets. The BSE Sensex recovered about 160 points from the day's low. Later came a cautious approval from the India Inc. for Modi's economic vision. FICCI welcomed the document's investment friendliness, but expressed disappointment over a clear no to FDI in multi-brand retail. The opposition dismissed the economic vision.
They talk about a new deal for not just rural India and urban India, but urban India. The areas which are rapidly urbanizing, the rural areas that are rapidly urbanizing. This I wrote almost 10 years ago, and for the last 2 to 3 years I have been, this whole Pura program in the Ministry of Rural Development has been oriented towards these so-called urban areas.
The BJP is hoping to woo India Inc. and tell voters that Modinomics is the only fix after Manmohannomics failed to get the job done. Modi has revealed its economic agenda. Now the voter will reveal his cards on the 16th of May. Bureau Report, Headlines Today.
Now, there was said to be an internal tussle within the BJP over this manifesto. It was initially called the Murli Festo, or what Murli Manohar Joshi wanted, and then the Modi Festo, what Narendra Modi wanted. Finally, the Modi Festo is out, but it has elements of the Murli Festo in it. The radical right-wing agenda finds a mention but does not dominate this manifesto. Inclusive growth is Modi's new pledge. Ram Mandir, a cultural commitment. The tightrope walk is proof that Modi's stamp is on the BJP's 2014 blueprint. The main thrust in the manifesto is a personal promise of superior administration, performance delivered by Modi's extreme poise.
The delay brushed aside with the razzle-dazzle of a photo op.
मुझे जो दायित्व देश की जनता देगी, उसको पूरा करने में, परिश्रम करने में मैं कभी भी कमी नहीं रखूंगा.
The BJP finally revealing its cards for 2014 and signed off on it with high-pitched branding rhetoric.
इलेक्शन मैनिफेस्टो जारी करने की हम लोगों ने मात्र औपचारिकता नहीं पूरी की है.
The Modi stamp was writ large, everything packaged around his development agenda.
This is an election manifesto based for the development and governance of the country. Swadeshi doesn't mean going back to bullock carts. Swadeshi is a spirit. It is a pride in India's strength. तो उसमें से प्राइस राइज, इन्फ्लेशन, ये एक ऐसा बड़ा व्यापक मुद्दा था जो शायद सबसे अधिक लोगों को परेशान कर रहा है. That is a cultural issue, simply gives an importance to what is culturally important for us.
But the BJP refused to move away from some of its old core issues. The project of building the Ram Temple and bringing in a uniform civil code has not been abandoned, only underplayed. A war of words followed.
It was Congress's turn to hit out on manifesto war. As soon as BJP came out with its poll manifesto, Congress rushed to Election Commission saying it was a clear violation by releasing it on poll day and mentioning Ram Mandir issue in it.
ये मॉडल कोड का वायलेशन है, लिहाजा ये डॉक्यूमेंट ये वैलिड डॉक्यूमेंट नहीं है, जो मैनिफेस्टो या विजन डॉक्यूमेंट आप कह सकते हैं बीजेपी का.
The BJP dismissed the controversy that exploded with its vision document going public.
Governance shall be the focus, shall always be the focus. In this election, it is all the more focused because of the rank, corruption and non-development of UPA.
Ram is not part of election manifesto of any part. Ram exists since ages in our hearts, everybody's hearts, your heart also. So, it is not an election manifesto.
But the BJP's Dream Manifesto clearly carries a Modi reflection. It's focused on all-inclusive growth, but in the end, it returns to the core issue in the Namo's vision document, raising political temperatures and making critics argue that it's no more than Hindutva couched as development. With camera person Dilip Upadhyay, Atir Khan in Delhi for Headlines Today.
It's being seen as a major setback for UPA chief and Congress President Sonia Gandhi's mission to woo the minorities. Prominent Shia cleric Kalbe Jawad has hit out at the Congress. He's asked the Muslims, especially Shia Muslims, not to vote for the Congress. Let's listen in to Kalbe Jawad. We'll get you more on that big story.
लिहाजा जहां मुसलमानों के साथ गद्दारी होगी वहां आप तो समझते हैं कि अगर कोई शिया कांग्रेस को वोट देगा तो इमाम ज़माने के साथ गद्दारी होगी. जो समझती है कि मुसलमान हमारा गुलाम है, जो समझती है बंधा मजदूर है मुसलमान, वो मुसलमानों के साथ ऐसा सलूक कर रहे हैं और उसके बाद चंद मौलवियों को खरीद कर वो समझते हैं कि हमने सारे मुसलमानों को खरीद लिया.
Kalbe Jawad obviously referring to UPA chairperson's meeting with the Shahi Imam of Jama Masjid, Sayyid Ahmad Bukhari, last week. He's made it clear getting the Imam's endorsement is not equal to getting all Muslims to vote for the Congress party. Kalbe Jawad has warned Shias against voting for the Congress. He minced no words, saying he would consider if anyone voted for the Congress, he would be going against the Qawm or community. Just before we move on in this bulletin, for a moment, let's just listen in to Sayyid Ahmad Bukhari, the Imam of Jama Masjid. What did he say, and what is prominent Shia cleric Kalbe Jawad saying? Let's listen to both.
कांग्रेस सदर मिसेस सोनिया गांधी से मुसलमानों के मसाइल, फिरकावाराना फसादात, तालीम, रोजगार, सच्चर कमेटी और रंगनाथ मिश्रा कमीशन की सिफारिशात का निफाज और मुसलमानों के जान और माल के तहफ्फुज को यकीनी बनाने जैसे उमूर पर तफसीली गुफ्तगू हुई. लिहाजा मैं आज लोकसभा इंतखाबात 2014 के लिए कांग्रेस की हिमायत का ऐलान करता हूं, इस एतमाद के साथ कि इक़्तिदार में आने की सूरत में वो अपने वादों को पूरा करेगी.
लिहाजा जहां मुसलमानों के साथ गद्दारी होगी वहां आप तो समझते हैं कि अगर कोई शिया कांग्रेस को वोट देगा तो इमाम ज़माने के साथ गद्दारी होगी. जो समझती है कि मुसलमान हमारा गुलाम है, जो समझती है बंधा मजदूर है मुसलमान, वो मुसलमानों के साथ ऐसा सलूक कर रहे हैं और उसके बाद चंद मौलवियों को खरीद कर वो समझते हैं कि हमने सारे मुसलमानों को खरीद लिया.
So is this not a major blow to Sonia Gandhi's mission to get, in inverted commas, secular votes? She met the Shahi Imam of Jama Masjid and said secular votes should not get divided. Joining me now on the phone line is Headlines Today's Amir Haq. Amir, what impact does Kalbe Jawad saying do not vote for the Congress have on the Lucknow seat specifically and on Shia voting pattern in general?
Well, Gaurav, Kalbe Jawad is obviously a senior leader and Shia Muslim cleric here, based here in Lucknow. And obviously, the Shia population here definitely, his saying something has a bearing on them. And not just Shia Muslims, but also, Muslims otherwise, because Maulana Kalbe Jawad is a very respected leader out here. But what he says finally, goes on to have a positive impact on the performance of BJP. Because, if he asks the Muslims not to vote for Congress, then definitely the vote of the Muslims gets divided between the Samajwadi Party and the BSP. And that obviously will go on to benefit Rajnath Singh, who will be contesting on a BJP ticket from Lucknow.
Okay. Now, post Muzaffarnagar riots, there was a change in situation. What we were told from reports that came from Ground Zero, and you've been reporting extensively from Ground Zero, what impact have these riots had on the Muslim thinking in these elections?
Well, Gaurav, as far as Muzaffarnagar riots are concerned, it definitely, they kind of antagonize the Muslim voters, especially away from the Samajwadi Party. But because Congress leaders, including Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, also the Prime Minister Manmohan Singh himself, they made a round of Muzaffarnagar. They tried to convince the people that the central government is right behind them. They have sent central forces over there. They will take care of their future. So obviously, if the Muslims did not vote for Samajwadi Party, then most probably, I mean, people would
stay
think
with
that
me.
they
I
would
want to
come
bring
to
in
the
Dr.
Congress.
Ijaz Ilmi. He's a member of the BJP. Dr. Ilmi, what impact does Maulana Kalbe Jawad saying don't vote for the Congress have on the Shia community in general?
I think it's preposterous for Maulana Kalbe Jawad to presuppose or expect the Shia community or any Muslim, Indian Muslim, to vote as per his diktat. It is highly against democracy. Any Maulana, whether it's Shahi Imam or Maulana Kalbe Jawad, their job is to be ritual specialists. Their job is to do imamas. They have no business to advise or guide or give any ridiculous, absurd fatwa asking for any individual citizen, any Muslim, to vote as per their diktat. The Muslims of India will vote for good governance, for a sound economy, and they're looking, because they have a special situation. You don't forget, the unemployment that is there in the country impacts them equally as the rest of Indians.
Is the Muslim vote divided in 2014, Dr. Ilmi?
Let me clarify one thing. There is no homogeneous, monolithic Muslim vote which votes uniformly across the board. Like every other Indian voter, the Muslims vote for a good governance, and and who they have faith in can deliver the goods. What is good for India is good for Indian Muslims, and that is what they want. And let me clarify, yes, the vote it does get divided. Like, look at the states of Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh. About 20 to 25% of Muslims voted for the BJP, which is why the BJP has 2 Muslim MLAs in Rajasthan, and the BJP also won 21 of the 22 Muslim-dominated seats in Madhya Pradesh. So yes, the vote is divided. A lot of people vote with emotions. A lot of people vote for governance. It's a choice that we exercise, and so be it.
Okay. Dr. Ijaz Ilmi and Amir Haq, for the moment, many thanks for joining me. What's the buzz in the political circles? A rose by another name will still smell as sweet, said Shakespeare, but a name has a major impact in these elections. One name, many namesakes. It's a complicated political game to win candidates or to win elections. Now, it's a real comedy of errors of sorts that's playing out in several Lok Sabha constituencies. There are multiple Hema Malinis contesting from Mathura, 3 Jarnail Singhs apart from the Aam Aadmi Party's shoe-throwing candidate in Delhi, and 11 Chandu Sahus pitted against the Congress leader Ajit Jogi in Mahasamand. Now, for the Aam Aadmi Party candidate from West Delhi's Trilokpuri area, there are many Jarnail Singhs. Does that affect him? Jarnail Singh, who shot to fame after hurling a shoe at Finance Minister P. Chidambaram. He's the Aam Aadmi Party candidate. The people in his constituency are confused. Which Jarnail Singh are they meant to vote for? Is this Jarnail Singh an Aam Aadmi Party MLA? There are 2 other Jarnail Singhs in the fray.
नहीं, ऐसा कुछ नहीं है, नकली होता है। बाकी ये बताता है कि बौखलाहट है, उनको मेरे नाम से ही डर लग रहा है। एक तरफ कांग्रेस पार्टी है जो कल तक अपना उम्मीदवार तय नहीं कर पा रही थी और कई दरवाजे खटखटाए, आप लोग बता रहे थे कभी इसके पैरों में पड़ रहे हैं कि आप लड़ लो, कोई इसके पैरों में पड़ रहे हैं, तो किसी को कोई टिकट लेने को राजी नहीं था। और दूसरे जो हैं वो जितने घबराए हुए हैं कि उनको लगता है कि जरनैल सिंह के नाम से शायद वोटें मिल जाएंगी। ये बौखलाहट और डर बताता है, सच्चाई यही है। इसी वजह से वो फेक आपको ना ये शैतानी कर रहे हैं, लेकिन चिंता करने की कोई बात नहीं है। जनता सब जानती है कौन जरनैल सिंह है और आम आदमी।
And even as Congress leader Ajit Jogi is eyeing a win from Mahasamand Lok Sabha constituency, his rival, the sitting BJP MP, is Chandulal Sahu. There are 10 Chandulal Sahus in this election. 6 of these candidates are Chandulal Sahus, 4 others are Chandu Ram Sahus. On the last day of filing nomination papers, cell phones of most namesake candidates remain switched off, leading to speculation these are dummy candidates who went missing for obvious reasons. Now, predictably, the sitting BJP MP Chandulal Sahu is saying this is sabotage. Ajit Jogi is feigning ignorance.
पूरे क्षेत्र की जनता भारतीय जनता पार्टी को चाह रही है और इसलिए कांग्रेस पार्टी शुरू से ही अपना हार मान चुकी है और ये कहा कि नैतिक रूप से कांग्रेस का प्रत्याशी हार चुका है और इसीलिए छल प्रपंच करके 10 चंदूलाल और चंदूराम साहू को नामांकन दाखिल करवा दिया गया है।
मैं तो लगातार भ्रमण पर हूँ, मुझे जानकारी नहीं है कितने लोगों ने नामांकन दाखिल किया है। जिन लोगों ने नामांकन दाखिल किया उनसे पता चलेगा कि किसके कहने पर किया।